Hi everybody, it's Alexa here from Pages of Forbidden Love, and I'm here for my July To Be Read pile. It's been a long time since I have done a To Be Read pile, mostly because this year has been pretty crazy, and I kind of did away with To Be Read piles just because I was doing my book goals for the year, and I just wanted to try and keep up with that instead of trying to make myself all these piles that I could never ever hope to keep up with. But I really kind of miss doing videos, and I miss kind of talking about books on videos and hopefully setting up something that I do want to read so I can try and meet those goals a little bit better. Because so far this year I wanted to read 100 books this year, and I think I've only read 36 or 37 books so far, which a lot of that had to do with me wrapping up my medical program and looking for a job in nuclear medicine, and a lot of other things that, you guys probably don't care about. So let's just get to the books. I have a pretty ambitious pile this month, but it's a mix of some new releases, some up-and-coming books, and some books that have just been sitting on my shelves for a long time that I've been meaning to get to. So I'm going to do some adult books first. So the first one is Alien Proliferation. I am currently reading this one right now. I think I'm about a third of the way into it. It is the fourth book in the Kitty Cat Alien series. I read the first 3 books in the series rather quickly. I kind of read them consecutively whenever they were released. Then for some reason we got to this fourth book, and I slowed down and I didn't really read it. It's probably because these books are 500 and some pages apiece. They're really good books, but for some reason the 500 pages, just when you're in a medicine program, it just doesn't really happen. So sadly these didn't happen for quite a while. Now I've gotten so behind on it, they're now up to book 9, and this is book 4. So as you can tell, I am many books behind in this series, and in order to try and catch up, because I pretty much own this entire series because I know I love Jeannie. She's a local author for me and I love this series. I kind of just bought the next book and the next book and the next book without really bothering to read them. So hopefully I can get caught up. Next book is an adult urban fantasy series that I really, really love. I kind of started to take urban fantasy recommendations from some bloggers that I know a couple years back, and this was one of the ones that they always talked about. I read the first 3 books in the series, and the first book I really struggled through. I tried it on audio, I tried reading it once, and I just kept putting it down. Finally, I was just determined to read it and try it and see how it went, and I read the first book, and I really kind of thought it was okay. Moved on to the second book. The second book is my favorite in the series. The third book was also very good. So I'm hoping with this fourth book, Sacrificial Magic, that I will fall even more in love with the series and hopefully stay up to date. This is the 4th book. There is a 5th book currently out that I do own. The 6th book is kind of, the publication date of it keeps kind of getting changed, so I really don't know when the 6th book is being planned, but I do like the series and want to try and stay as up to date on it as I possibly can. Next book is a release that just came out, actually, for the month of July. And even though I didn't completely love the first book, I did really like the brothers in the story, and I want to know more about them and see if they can impress me more than the first guy did. So I did buy a copy of Beautiful Oblivion. Even though I didn't love Beautiful Disaster, I liked Beautiful Disaster. I didn't all out love it, so I'm hoping that if I get some more of the brothers in my system, that I will love this one. So let's hope this is really good. Something kind of along the lines of adult/new adult, a book that I picked up at ALA. Johnny and I just went to ALA, and as you can probably tell, my bookshelves are kind of a nightmare of just random books shoved in random places because I don't really know where I'm putting all the books that I got from ALA. But hopefully Johnny and I will be doing a video on some ALA books soon, but 2 of them that I know I want to read before Johnny and I get around to doing that video. The first one that I stood in line for to get a copy of, to get it signed, because I love this author. I love her Cat and Bones Night Huntress World series, is The Beautiful Ashes. This is her first new adult, and it's by Harlequin. And so hopefully I enjoy this as much as I've enjoyed her adult books. I've kind of heard iffy things about people who've read this one so far, but I'm hoping I really love it because I really love this author. Next up is a YA book. It's Mortal Danger. I have not read anything by Anne before, but she tends to write kind of creepy, thriller, horror, dark dystopian kind of books. So I'm hoping that this new one, Mortal Danger, is really good, and I think it's set to release in August, which is kind of why I want to read it here in July, so that hopefully I can have a review up for it in time of the release. I know I haven't read a lot of ARCs lately because I got away from that being in medical school. Once again, everything comes back to medical school. Don't go to medical school. Just kidding. The next book is of a series that everybody really loves, and I've only read the first 3 books in the series. Yes, I'm reading it for my first time ever. I did not read this book back when it was first published because it was around the same time as the Twilight craze, and I was a Twilight person, so I kind of missed out on this just because I thought it was going to be too similar to what Twilight was, and since I was already a Twilight girl, I didn't want to break away from that. So I never read the Vampire Academy series when it was out. But I read the first one probably a year and a half or so ago, and then I read the second one, Frostbite, pretty soon after that. A couple weeks ago, I read Shadow Kiss, and now I want to read this one, Blood Promise, although I have heard that this one is the most frustrating book of the entire series. And I've read Michelle Mead's Succubus adult series, and trust me, I know that in the 4th book you want to rip your hair out of that series. So I'm pretty much assuming that in this book, in this series of also Michelle Mead, that I will want to rip my hair out with this one too. But I do like the series. It's really great. I don't love any of the books in the series. None of them have gotten a 5 heart rating from me. But I'm hoping that somewhere in the series is a 5 heart rating, or that I just, if I generally collectively really enjoy, I think I've given each book a 4.5 heart. So I really think it is a great series, even though I don't all out be wowed by it or love it, but I'm hoping. Next up is a book that I didn't read when it was first out, even though I got an advance copy of this, and I didn't read it back then, and I don't know why I didn't read it. I just never got around to it. It is sat on my shelf. The 3rd book was just released a couple weeks ago, and now that I feel like all 3 books are out, I would really just want to read these books kind of consecutively, or just, kind of binge read them. So I have a copy of Shadow and Bone. I also have the 2nd book in this series because I found it for really cheap on a bargain thing. So that was only a couple dollars for like the hardcover version, which is really cheap for some reason. So I own the first 2 books in this series, so I do need to read them, and so I can get to the last book, because everybody in the blogging world and everybody on Twitter is talking about the last book, and they're all so excited for it, and I want all those feels. I want all those emotions, because I really need a series that's just going to grab my attention and draw me in, so I'm hoping that'll be this series. Hoping, fingers crossed. A series that I do know has drawn in my attention and that I want to continue on with is a slightly newer release of Cress. I read Cinder and I really enjoyed Cinder. I enjoyed it quite a lot. I think I gave it a 4.5. And then I read Scarlet. I wasn't as impressed with Scarlet, but I did think Scarlet was a little bit of an in-between book, even though the series is 4 books, so it's hard for one particular book to be the in-between middle book. I feel like Scarlet was a little bit of the in-between middle book, because there was so much new stuff introduced to us, a whole new set of characters, and I know Cress will be introduced to us, and we'll get even more characters introduced into our storyline, but I'm really excited for this. I think the only reason I've put off reading Cress for so long is because it's a 500 and some page book. So I have a couple big chunky books on this pile. Last but certainly not least to the pile, even though there may be ups and extras added to the pile as we go along, I have Snakeroot, which is the 4th, and I don't really know if it's going to be the final book in the Nightshade series. So, Nightshade series ended, of course, the way that it ended, and I was not particularly happy with the way it kind of had to end. Not because of the way most people don't like the series, but because of my own personal thing with it. So, sadly, this book is not told from Kala's perspective. It is actually told from a different girl who was a secondary character. I guess a main to secondary character in the book. It's told from her perspective. But I do want to read it because I do like Andrea Kramer's writing, and I do like this series, and I did like this main/secondary female character in the first series, so I want to read it. I haven't really heard much about Snakeroot either. I was really excited about it when it first came out, but oh, there's my phone going. So Johnny's calling me. Anyway. You could never go wrong with some Carrie Underwood in your life, even though I'm not really a country girl. Okay, phone's done. Now I can finish the video. And no, I don't edit my videos, so you're going to have to listen to that in the video. So sorry about that. But that is everything I hope to be reading in July. That is very ambitious considering I have several books on the pile like Blood Promise and Cress and the Alien series that are all 500-page books. They're all very, very hefty. So I don't know if I'm going to get through all of this, but I hope so. Also, I've been really looking for a lot of readathons lately, so if anybody knows of a readathon that's happening in July, I would really like to join it. But yeah, I just hope I'm able to read all these or at least make a chunk in this pile is kind of my ultimate goal, is to just kind of maybe get halfway through this pile. I am starting a new job, so we'll kind of see if I'll even have time to make all of this happen. It's my goal. It's good to have reading goals. I like it. So anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble for over 10 minutes, and hopefully Johnny and I will be back with some videos soon, and hopefully he'll see our ALA pile soon. Johnny got some books too, so don't act like I, gobbled up all the books at ALA, because I didn't. He got some too, especially from Simon & Schuster. So that's everything for now, and if you have a To-Be Read pile video, or just some pictures you posted on your blog, or just a list somewhere on Goodreads or something, link me to it, and I'll try and check it out. Bye guys!